Let me take you through this moment carefully, because what just unfolded between Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump was not just another political jab or petty feud. It was a seismic moment that rattled Trump's White House and sent his advisors scrambling to contain the fallout. And to understand why this hit so hard, you have to hear the full story, the deeper layers, the history, and the political firestorm Newsom just detonated on the world stage. This was not just humiliation. This was an urgent warning, and Trump's orbit knows it. California. Governor Gavin Newsom has embarrassed Donald Trump before, but this time he did it in front of cheering global audiences, who already view Trump as an embarrassment. When the original commentary joked about the world hating the orange taco, it was not far from the truth. Trump's global approval ratings during and after his presidency have been historically low. Europeans distrust him, Asians roll their eyes at him, Latin American leaders resent him, and even many American allies view him as erratic and weak. So when Newsom stepped onto the world stage and outshone Trump, it was not just a political contrast. It was a full-blown international comparison that Trump could not control. And that is what triggered the panic. Newsom and Trump have a long history. These two men orbit completely different galaxies in politics, but somehow their paths keep crossing. Newsom is polished, articulate, and fearless. Trump is bombastic, insecure, and easily enraged when confronted by someone who does not bow to him. And out of all the Democrats who criticize Trump, Newsom is one of the few who actually gets under his skin. Most Democrats attack Trump with facts, with policy arguments, or with moral outrage. Newsom does those things too, but he also pokes Trump in the ego, which is where Trump is most fragile. He trolls him on social media. He mocks him in interviews. He exposes him in public appearances. And Trump hates being mocked, especially by someone younger, sharper, and more disciplined. But what really pushed Trump into panic mode was Proposition 50, California's attempt to counter Trump's manipulation of district maps. Gerrymandering is one of Trump's favorite political tools. It is how he keeps power in places where he is deeply unpopular. So when California passed Proposition 50, a measure that allows emergency redistricting to stop partisan manipulation, Trump saw it as a direct attack. And honestly, it was. It was California saying, "We know what you are doing, and we are not going to let you rig elections here." That alone irritated Trump. But Newsom did not stop there. He called out Trump and the entire ecosystem of people who bow to Trump. He named the lawyers, the universities, the corporations, the political cowards, the foreign leaders who flatter him, the whole network of enablers who bend the knee to Trump's every demand. Newsom called them sellouts. He said they were betraying the country. He said Trump had corrupted institutions that once served a democracy. The part that Trump insiders hated the most was Newsom's reference to foreign leaders embarrassing themselves.
Poor guy over in South Korea handing out this crown. It's embarrassing.
Trump craves that kind of flattery. He views it as proof of his greatness. Newsom publicly calling that behavior humiliating, unbecoming, and pathetic did more damage to Trump's ego than most people realize. Then came the most devastating section of Newsom's argument. He directly accused Trump of undermining free and fair elections, and he did not do it vaguely. He listed Trump's actions one by one. Trump sent the Department of Justice into California without legal basis. He deployed masked federal agents to the Proposition 50 kickoff. He sent BORTAC units to polling sites in Los Angeles on Election Day. He federalized the National Guard in preparation for election crackdowns. He set up quick response teams in all 50 states. These are not the actions of a president who believes in democracy. These are the actions of a man preparing for authoritarian power. And then Newsom tied Trump's behavior to Vladimir Putin. He pointed out that Putin's last election ended with an impossible result of 87.4% to 4.3%. When Newsom said Trump takes cues from Putin, he was not exaggerating. Trump has praised Putin openly for years. He admires strongmen. He envies dictators. And Newsom knew exactly what he was doing when he drew that parallel. When Newsom said this is not about the rule of law, but the rule of dawn, that line cut deep. Trump measures his worth by dominance. He wants adoration. He wants submission. Being called a jungle dictator in training, in front of cameras, backed by real evidence, was devastating. Then Newsom exposed Trump's behavior toward Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
As it was chilling when Donald Trump called Greg Abbott to say he's entitled to 5 seats. This is not normal times. The rules have changed.
Newsom described this as chilling, and he was right. It was the kind of request a mob boss would make, not a president, but all of that was only the beginning. What truly sent Trump into panic mode was the United Nations summit in Brazil. Trump was invited. As the President of the United States, he was expected to attend, but he declined. He stayed home. He avoided the world stage again. Trump avoids global events where he cannot control the narrative, where experts might challenge him, where leaders ignore his theatrics, and where he cannot rely on cheering crowds to validate him. So who represented the United States instead? Gavin Newsom. And that is where everything changed. Newsom did not just attend the summit. He dominated it. He delivered a speech that made Trump look like a small and frightened man avoiding the responsibility of leadership. Newsom spoke with confidence. He spoke with purpose. He spoke about climate change, economic innovation, diplomatic leadership, and American responsibility. He spoke like a leader who understands the weight of the moment. And Trump watched it all from afar, boiling with anger.
California has 2 things: a reliable partner in relationship to this space. I cannot say that for the United States of America, particularly as it relates to the current occupant in the White House. Quite the contrary.
Newsom began by saying California is a reliable partner on climate issues, while the United States under Trump is not. Imagine that. A governor publicly telling the world that the American president is unreliable and incompetent. And the world agreed. They applauded him. They admired him. They listened to him. Newsom then reframed the entire climate debate. He said this is not about electric power. It is about economic power. He said California is not going to surrender the future to China. He said America must compete in the global clean energy race. Trump still talks about wind turbines causing cancer. Newsom talks about economic strategy. One man is stuck in the past. The other is competing for the future. While Trump rants online, Newsom builds policy. While Trump obsesses over loyalty, Newsom offers leadership. While Trump isolates America, Newsom reconnects it. While Trump bows to dictators, Newsom calls them out. This contrast terrified Trump's inner circle. They know Trump cannot stand next to someone like Newsom without looking ridiculous. Trump is allergic to real leadership. He cannot handle it. He cannot imitate it. He cannot fake it. And he knows it. As Newsom spoke on that stage, he looked presidential. He sounded presidential. And Trump looked absent. Disengaged, weak. Newsom did not stop at climate. He talked about what American leadership used to be. He said it was something we took for granted. He said Trump and his movement corroded that legacy. And he is right. Under Trump, the United States became less respected, less stable, and less influential. Newsom reminded the world that America still has leaders with integrity, with courage, with vision. Leaders who do not run from challenges but rise to meet them. Whether or not Newsom is your pick for the 2028 election does not matter. What matters is that he offered something Trump cannot offer. Hope, competence, maturity, a sense of direction, a belief in democracy instead of chaos, a belief in progress instead of fear. And that is why Trump's White House panicked, because Gavin Newsom did something Trump has never done. He showed the world what American leadership can look like when it is not driven by ego, insecurity, and resentment. Trump is terrified of that version of America because he cannot survive in it.